Alright, I'm going to show you how to flush your power steering fluid. This is a 2007 Toyota Camry, 2.4 liter 5-speed automatic transmission. Here's your power steering pump. Just bought this car, going through it, replacing a lot of things, changing all the fluids, and one thing I noticed was someone mixed regular power steering fluid with the recommended power steering fluid for this vehicle, which is Dextron type ATF. And I could tell that because it was kind of like an amberish cherry color and the consistency was thicker as well, which is indicative of power steering fluid. Alright, so essentially what I've done, step one is get yourself a pump or a turkey baster or something. I'm using just a regular pump that you would attach to something like differential, gear oil, fluid, and pumped out the majority of the fluid in the reservoir tank. The second thing I've done is I've identified the supply line and the return line, and I feel like this way is a little less messy compared to disconnecting it elsewhere in the system, because you can empty the reservoir and not have much come out where you disconnect it. It's not going to be the case on all vehicles. It may not be so easy to get to on all vehicles. So on this vehicle, I was able to do it here. So the supply line is typically larger and the return line is typically smaller. Also here we can see the return line is higher on the fill tank. Actually, you may not be able to see that back one, so let me get a little more light here. You can see this back one is lower, so that if you do go below the minimum, there's still some fluid in there, versus being up high. You know, it's going to be difficult for it to have as much reserve as possible. The other way that you can do it is just look at the lines and see where they go. And you can also, when you're looking at those lines, look for fittings that are crimped versus fittings that are clamped on. You can see this is one that was clamped on here. These kind of clamps further down the line past the power steering pump will be for the return line, low pressure side. Okay, so what I've done is I've disconnected the return line, which is this hose here, from the return line on the reservoir, and I have put a union in here, and then I have it flowing out here. So that way when I turn the steering wheel and it returns the fluid, trying to return the fluid back to the reservoir, instead it is going to my catch can over here. Then what I did was I took a extra hose I had, this is 3/8 hose, and I put it on here, and then I got some hose clamps, pliers, which you don't need to have. You can use a pair of vice grips. As you can see up here, I have a pair of vice grips on there as a kind of extra layer of protection to keep from it going everywhere. Okay, with that being done, we have blocked off our port for the return line, so as we add fluid, it doesn't go everywhere and it actually stays in there. And we have our return line going to our catch can. We have our reservoir empty, and now all we got to do is add some fluid to it. And in this case, because we're going to be pumping a lot of fluid through here, it's not going to hurt to fill it up to the top. And worst comes to worst, we can always pump it back out with our pump if we've overfilled it. Okay, there we go. All right, so that is well topped off. And then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside the vehicle. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. Jack up your vehicle. The vehicle is gonna be off. Power steering is to make it easy to turn the wheels. With the vehicle off, it's very difficult to turn the wheels with the wheels on the ground. So jack it up. You can put jack stands under there if you want to. I'm not. I just literally got it barely off the ground. It's not going to be a big deal. I'm not going to be in the vehicle or underneath the vehicle. If my jack fails, it drops a ½ an inch to the ground. No big deal. So then what you do after you've topped it off, go in the vehicle and turn the steering wheel lock to lock a few times, and then periodically checking the level to make sure it's not too low, because you don't want your power steering pump to be running without fluid. That was one turn from left to right, all the way back to left. You can see I got fluid dripping out there still. And I'm looking at the color. It is not our new color. I'm checking our level here. We did go down quite a bit, so I'm going to top it back off. All right, I'm gonna try to get you to focus here, and we'll watch for that color change. I guess it's gonna automatically try to focus. Okay, we did one more turn to the left and then to the right, and we can see we're starting to get new fluid out. It looks very nice. So that's really all it took. It was 2 turns, completely solid, and we have brand new power steering fluid in our system. And we flushed out all the old stuff. Now, I have a little bit left, and I don't need this stuff for anything else. So I might as well just go ahead and add the rest of it and see where we are. So we're going to go ahead and top that off. Okay, now we just got a smidge left, and so I'd say we're good. I think by the time we get the hoses reconnected, we might have to top that back off. All right, so with that done, we can go ahead and reattach our hoses. And before I disconnect that one, we're going to get this one disconnected. Alright, we're going to get a little bit of spillage here, I'm sure. I can't tell if I'm in the way or not. Okay. We have our clamp ready to go. So remember, this is the return line, and the return line needs to go to the return line on the reservoir. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this off, and then we're going to pop that off, and we're going to pop that on real quick. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this back up here so I can remove them from down here. Give me a little bit more wiggle room. And there's the switch. There we go. It's on. It's on. There we go. Oh, there we go. And then now we can tighten that back up. Oh, one suggestion I might have you, or that I might make to you, is put like some paper towels. I got some absorbent cloths here that I put underneath there. But you can see it's kind of hard to see because the actual reservoir is kind of dirty. So it's kind of hard to see where the level is. But we did lose a little bit, not too much. And we have just enough left to top it off. And there we go. And wipe around there. Oh, sorry, bumped the camera. All right. Go ahead and remove our cloth. Wiping up any messes we have. Avoid as much burning smells as we can. Okay, so we used about a quart, and that was really for well, some of it came out into our pan, so that's a good thing. So a quart ought to do you, depending on your system size. I have there's a little bit of a leak on the power steering pump, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. where it's coming from yet. But what I'm going to try to do is use a product called AT205. Now this type of product does not fill in holes or gaps or crevices. This is a product that swells and softens like rubber seals and such. So if it's because maybe like an O-ring or something is a little dried out and cracked, this should help. If it's because there's like a crack in the system somewhere, this will not fill that crack. So, according to the box here, says power steering fluid and rack and pinion and steering box applications. Even on the front it says power steering. So what we're going to do is look at the instructions. Are they on the box? They're not on the box. They are on the back here. Oh, I don't even see the instructions. Okay, so upon further reading, the bottle says full 8-ounce bottle will treat 6 quarts. So how many ounces will treat 1 quart? And that is 1.33 ounces. I figured there's about 3/4 of an ounce in here. I'm sorry, 3/4 of a quart in our system. And that works out to be 1 ounce to treat the system. Now, I didn't quite measure it. I will say that's pretty good. And I did overfill it some because I do have a leak. And I want as much of a buffer in here as possible. And here we go. Now all I'm going to do is turn the car on and turn it left and right several times. Hope that helped people.